What's happening YouTube? My name is Alex and welcome to a new action camera review. For today we have something called the SJ8000, but this is not related to the SJ camera manufacturer, so only the name is similar but they're not actually related. So first of all, this camera costs around $55 to $80. It really depends where you buy it from, and it can record in 4K at 24 frames per second. Keep in mind that the 4K recordings are actually interpolated recordings. Aside from that, we have the Novatek 96660 CPU. We also have a Sony image sensor. It's a Sony IMX117, and this camera has a field of view of 170 degrees. Let's start with a very quick unboxing. So this camera comes in a white box, and we've seen this box in the past for another camera called the F68. So on the front of the box we just see 4K, on one side we see a couple of colors for the camera, and on the back we see some specifications about the device. Inside the box we are going to find the action camera and the waterproof case. The waterproof case is the same waterproof case that we've seen for many Chinese action cameras, so there is nothing special about the waterproof case. We are also going to find the user manual, and the user manual has got some pictures and it's in a whole bunch of languages. And aside from that we are going to find a whole bunch of mounts and stickers. So if you want to place this camera on a bicycle, on a tripod, or on a helmet or anything like that, most likely you're going to find a sticker here or a mount for that particular purpose. The camera itself looks a lot like a GoPro 3 or a GoPro 4 or anything like that, and it's very similar to a whole bunch of other action cameras from China, but it doesn't feel that premium. The front of the camera, it's made out of this rubberized plastic that feels very soft whenever you touch it. We also have the power on-off button there, and that's also the mode button. We also have an LED right there in the center that can change colors, and of course the lens. The sides are made out of this plastic that's kind of slippery. On top we have the OK or the recording button. There is also an LED there. On one side we are going to find two buttons, one up, one down, and one of those is actually the button to turn on the Wi-Fi. We also have the speaker on that side, and on the other side we are going to find the HDMI port, the charging port, and the slot for the SD card, and of course the microphone. Now you can record while you're charging this camera, so you can have a power bank or anything like that and keep recording whenever this camera is charging. Since we got to the microphone does sound fairly good, and here is a sample of how the microphone sounds during a recording. What's happening YouTube? My name is Alex, and this is a very quick microphone test to this new camera that I'm testing. So as you can probably see, I'm in the car and the windows are closed, and the only noise that you're listening to is my voice. So this is how the microphone sounds. And as you've heard, the microphone does sound fairly good, and it's among one of the best from any action camera that I've tried. And lastly, all the way at the bottom of the camera, we're just gonna find a little plastic door, and this camera has a 900 milliamp removable battery, and with this battery you can get about, I don't know, 60 to 70 minutes of recording at 1080p at 60 frames per second. And unlike many GoPros from the past, we actually have a 2-inch screen on the back of this camera, so you can see whatever the camera sees through that little screen on the back. The viewing angles on that screen are not the best, and the screen doesn't get that bright, so whenever you go outside in bright daylight it's gonna be a bit difficult to actually see the screen. This camera also has Wi-Fi, so you can turn on the Wi-Fi network, then connect to that Wi-Fi network with your smartphone, download an app that works with this camera, and then you can control the camera through your smartphone. So I've noticed that it works good up to like 10 meters away from the camera. After that it kind of gets disconnected. The app is fairly simple. You can change some settings in there for video recording and of course for picture recording, and you can also access all the files that you have on the camera. So if you have some recordings or some pictures on the camera, you can actually download those right on your phone from the camera. So it's very easy to use. The 16 megapixel sensor inside the SJ8000 does take some nice and crisp pictures, and you're seeing some samples that I took in daytime, so all the colors are nice and saturated, and there is a lot of detail in the pictures as well. Pictures taken at nighttime don't look that great, but this is something normal for cheaper action cameras, so there is a lot of noise in pictures taken in low light, and of course the focus doesn't seem to be pretty much anywhere in the picture. There is also gyro stabilization available on this camera, and I have to say that it does do fairly good with the gyro stabilization on. And here is a sample with the gyro stabilization on and with the gyro stabilization off. And as you've seen, the gyro stabilization does work fairly good on this cheap camera. Next, I'm going to show you some videos taken in daylight. Some of them have the gyro stabilization on, some of them have the HDR mode on, and so on, or a combination in between them. And I'm going to let you watch those clips so you can have a better idea about daytime recordings. And as you've seen, daytime recordings do look fairly good, mostly if the gyro stabilization is on and the camera doesn't shake that much. Next, I'm gonna show you some clips that I recorded at nighttime, and I just wanted to mention that all the clips that you're gonna see during this video are recording at 1080p at 60 frames per second. So next I'm going to show you some nighttime recordings, and you're probably going to see that there is a lot of noise in the nighttime recordings, but this is something kind of normal for these cheap action cameras from China. So here are some samples. And as you've probably seen, the nighttime recordings don't look that amazing, but this is rather normal for a camera that costs only about $60. Next, I want to show you the menu for the camera because it's straightforward and fairly simple. So all you have to do to actually get to the menu is press that mode button about 3 times. First time you're going to be in video recording mode, second time you're going to be in picture taking mode, then you're going to be able to view whatever files you have on the camera. And if you press that button one more time, you're gonna get into the setup mode. Here at setup mode you can change the video resolution, and of course, as I said before, you can choose 4K at 24 frames per second. We also have an HDR mode on there, and some of the videos that you've seen have the HDR mode on or off, and you've seen that in the videos. You can also choose if you want to record the audio. You have slow motion in there, and slow motion it's done at 720p at 120 frames per second. We also have gyro stabilization. You can change the size for the picture, so of course you can choose 12 megapixel, 16 megapixel, so whatever you need. And we do have like a car mode, and that's basically whenever you turn on the car, the camera starts recording. And we do have a whole bunch of other options to choose from. So for example, you can change the ISO, you can protect some files, so those files wouldn't be overwritten or deleted. And of course you can change the languages, and we do have some languages available. Not the whole bunch of languages, but enough for day-to-day use and for most users. So that's about it for this camera's menu. So very simple, and all you have to do is just go through those menus and find whatever you may be interested in. So you can even change the field of view, so if you don't like all that wide angle, you can just make it smaller and so on. So a whole bunch of options in there as well. And it's time to conclude this video. So for a camera that costs about $60, again it depends where you buy this camera from, but I do think that it records fairly good, mostly in daytime. So the pictures taken in daytime look really good, and the video taken in daytime also looks very good. We also have gyro stabilization. The battery life, it's not amazing, so you can get about an hour of recording time, and I guess that's good enough. You can always buy some of those batteries because they're fairly cheap. But overall, I think that it does do really good for a camera that's this cheap. Alright guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, press that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.